How's it going, everybody? It's your host, the Sports Moose, coming at you live after a disappointing game number 6. Let's talk about it. Definitely not how I thought this one would go, especially with the start that we had. At some point, taking a 2-0 lead, things were looking good. But those Islanders, they're feisty. In that home crowd, I don't think they've lost. I think this is the third round in a row, of course, where they've won Game 6 on home ice, taking it to a deciding Game 7. And back to Tampa we go. Friday night, primetime action. Be Lightning Islanders to close out one of the semifinals. Unbelievable. And, still reflecting here, a couple minutes trying to finish off what I thought was going to be a sweet bourbon and Coke over overtime. Game was done pretty quick. A little bit of a surprise there. Probably jinxed it. Who knows? But let's talk about it. Of course, if you're joining us on my personal Facebook page, for whatever reason, comments don't come through. So make sure that you jump over to the Sports Moose on Facebook. Should be all working good if you're joining us on Twitch and YouTube. We have a few followers there. So make sure you're following us on all channel avenues at the Sports Moose. And of course, Twitter, always active at Sports Moose Show. So if you want to chat, make sure you're on the Sports Moose page. All right. Let's talk about game number 6. And first period, I think, going as we thought. Bolt's really not getting on the board until about quarter 5 minutes left to go, maybe. Braden Point on a pretty incredible, I don't know if it was a backhander, kind of a redirection, great pass, and right past Varlamov, huge goal right there. Latter half of the first period, it's 1-0. Point, 9th game in a row where he scores a goal. Absolutely incredible effort. If the Bolts go on to win the Stanley Cup, he's definitely in the Conn Smythe conversation. And things were looking pretty good. Defensively, I thought we were doing a great job. I think we were struggling a little bit offensively heading into the second. And, certainly heading into the third, a noticeable shot disadvantage. And I think as we look at some of the statistics and some of the sabermetrics data, like we usually do in the post-game show, certainly absolutely different from what we saw in game number 5. But to a degree, the Islanders really back on their game and limiting the Lightning's chances. And that's really what it's about. It's minimizing those chances. I think the Lightning had maybe like 15 shots on goal through 2 periods. Again, kind of hearkening those days of Bolts past where we didn't shoot the puck enough on net. Islanders, I think, doing a good job clogging most of the passing lanes. It's really funny, right? Because I feel like it was a tale of 2 periods. Coming out of the first period feeling pretty confident. That was a pretty even period. Say what you will about the officiating, which we'll get to in a moment. No calls really in the first period. Lots of non-calls. Kucherov playing an amazing 45 seconds in this game. Gets cross-checked by a piece of shit Scott Mayfield. 45 seconds, Kucherov cross-checked to like the liver or the kidney. Done for the game. We'll see if he's back for Game 7. Fully expect him back for Game 7. It's a Game 7. Unless he's critically injured. And of course, Scott Mayfield just getting free cross checks the entire game is, for me, is really frustrating. And as an officiating crew, how do I get feedback between periods and not looking for that? Because pretty sure he gets another free cross check on a Lightning player in at least period 2, if not period 3. And of course, in amazing NHL God fashion, Scott Mayfield's the one who scores the game tying goal in period number 3. So we know about Braden Point's goal. 1-0 Bolts. A little bit halfway through the second period, Cirelli gets basically a breakaway, partial breakaway at least, from the blue line. Nice little move, drags the puck, gets it past Varlamov. It's 2-0. We're feeling good about ourselves. Bolts gets shut down 2-0, right? We've seen it a couple games in this series. Lo and behold, didn't happen. Just saw it. It just felt like an hourglass, just a sand slipping. And you just knew the magic of the Coliseum crowd. Just too much. Getting, Everly with an absolute turning point of the game was the Everly goal. You say what you will about Mayfield's tying goal and the Bolts' inability to really lock it down. I think the game changed Everly's goal. I mean, good response to Cirelli's breakaway goal. I mean, if they don't get that, I think the Islanders are in trouble. That, for me, was a momentum shifter. Just kind of a backhanded shot that I think Vasi makes that save 9 times out of 10, to be honest with you. So, don't know exactly what happened. I think Vasi's play declined throughout the game. He looked a little spotty. I think, a couple instances of, moderate to, below average rebound control, I would say. That looked a little spotty in the third period. I don't think the overtime goal is his fault. I mean, he turnover committed right in front of him. I mean, what are you going to do? And the Scott Mayfield goal. That's you don't call that a backbreaker, but man, that's, talk about a momentum shift there. I mean, an absolutely perfect shot. It's hard to get mad at it, other than the fact that he's played like a piece of shit, in terms of dirty play. Barzal and Pelech on the assist on the game tire. All of a sudden, it's 2-2. 5 minutes left to go. Islanders really pedal to the metal. And they honestly, I think they were pretty on the cusp of winning the game in regulation, let alone in the early minute of overtime. Bolts pull through the period, thankfully. Kind of on the ropes in the second period as well. I know I remember tweeting out, just need to get through this period, because I really feel like the Islanders turned on the last 5 minutes of the second period. Bolts survive the last few minutes of the third period, get to overtime, and then Blake Coleman with we try to drop the puck off. I don't even know what happened. Either case, puck ends up on Beauvillier's stick and in the back of the net. I mean, Vasi had no chance. This is basically like a 1-0 after the turnover. I don't know if it was Coleman pushing the puck basically to an empty space of just Beauvillier. It was like a diamond of Lightning players all around. It was a mess. Clear turnover. 1 minute in. I think a minute 8 officially in. And that's all she wrote for the, we were getting ready for the long haul here. I had a full glass of drink. Had some chili roasted pistachios. No free advertising. It was, we were ready for the long haul here, and just a little bit of a disappointment. So let's look at the stats before we talk about getting into game number 7, of course. And as we always do, kind of consulting NHL.com for some of the stats here. Big difference here is the face-offs. I mean, it's been a challenge. I feel like the Lightning have just become a bad face-off team, and I feel like, again, don't have the exact stats in front of me, but I feel like last playoffs, there's really the Achilles heel or a weakness of our team was we really struggled in the face-off circle. I feel like we kind of struggled throughout the regular season, and we struggled today. I mean, at one point it was 70-30 on the face-offs, and I'm pretty sure that was heading to the third period. So winning some key face-offs, I guess, at the end of the game, just not enough. Ending up with a 58-32 difference percentage-wise. No love on the power play. Had some good chances on that high sticking call against Matt Martin. Thought that was going to be our chance there, but Varlamov shutting it down, and of course the defense shutting it down. Islanders have been just out hitting us too. We're not seeing. I feel like we're not seeing enough of Patty Maroon. Russ Colton just doesn't have that Paquette type of sandpaper in him. Nice touch scoring every once in a while, but I think we're missing a little bit of the grit there. And nice to have Luke Shen in the lineup. I do think we're missing Eric Chernak. Again, no information on that injury. Hopefully we see him for game number 7. So I think I'd take a 100% Luke Shen over like a 75% Eric Chernak. Debatable. Throw that down in the comments if you disagree. Lightning blocking 19 of 13 on the shots. Again, 13 giveaways for the Bolts. Kind of weird on the time on ice, even with a minute extra in overtime. Patty Maroon under 10 minutes. And of course, Ross Colton right there. Kucherov officially 46 minutes. 46 minutes. I think Colton was off for about 10 minutes anyway. So Bolts down about 10 forwards for a little bit in that second period. Of course, no surprise on the ice time for your defensive pairs. Hedman and McDonough leading the way with Sergei right up there. All right. Natural stat tricks over our sabermetric stats. All situations, of course. I'm just carried the play here, and you kind of felt it in the first period. I wasn't alarmed by it. Like, you expected that push, especially after getting beat 8-0. And stats support that. Possession and quality of play in the favor of the Islanders. Lightning actually evened up the shots here. They were down like 10. Difference of 10 in the shots category. Bolts and for the Bolts. So a little bit of pressure in the third period to even that up. The Islanders, I think, had more quality chances. And, ironically, as I say that, I look at the high dangers chances, and Lightning led in that. So, Varley, I think, had a pretty good game. Varlamov. But Vasi really, again, his play declining kind of in the second half of this game. 10-4 on the high danger scoring chances in favor of the Lightning. Scoring chances in general, however, Islanders 27-22. So but that was really interesting. Of course, of all these stats, Islanders projected winners 2.18 expected goals for. Basically an even game here. But when you're looking at game flow here, it's all Islanders. I mean, this is all Islanders. This is, again, is in all situations. The 5-on-3 here. Even with the 5-on-3, you didn't see that momentum shift that you thought you'd see shifting over to the Lightning. Of course, the Bolts getting on the board here, getting their second goal. But still, play really was trending towards the Islanders. They got that tying goal. A little bit of the Bolts power play shifting momentum a little bit in their favor towards the end of the third period. But again, just sustained pressure by the Islanders. And as we look at the heat map, just Bolts really, kind of tough on the attempts. Nice to get some action close in, but really just sporadic kind of shooting pattern. The Islanders had a little bit more possession and quality of shots, especially close range here. Kind of a weird goal here. Second, do I have all situations here? I guess for some reason the overtime goal not showing up here. 2 goals for the Islanders showing up. Third goal, yeah, basically coming from circles, right? Or deep inside, probably from this area over here. So that's in a nutshell for game number 6. I don't know if I'm ready to talk about how prepared we are for game number 7. It's been a long time since we've had a meaningful game number 7. Didn't get there last year. Year before, of course, a sweep to Columbus. So you really got to look back to that Capitals series where we were cup contenders there, right? Yeah, that's a year that's another kind of lost year, right? Because that's Vegas's first year in the league. They kind of a crazy run to the finals. The Bolts do away with Vegas, no problem, a couple years ago, but Washington winning those last 2 games. I mean, this series is not done. It had that eerie feeling, even with that 8-0 victory, kind of felt like the proof was in the pudding for this result here, that it was going to be close. And personally thinking Bolts in 6, not the case. Hopefully it's Bolts in 7. Lots of the experts thinking Bolts in 7 at the beginning of the series. So that's why I'm not an expert writing panels on ESPN or any other sports website. So we'll have to wait and see. It'll be prime time on Friday in Chicago. So gotta find a hockey bar. Watch the Bolts. Hopefully reel it in. We'll have to wait and see. That does it for us. Post-game show game number 6. Bolts drop a tough one, 3-2 in overtime to New York Islanders. All comes down to game number 7 on Friday night. Been your host, Sports Moose. We'll see you next time. Make sure you're following us on social media. Twitter at Sports Moose Show. And of course, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, The Sports Moose. Make sure you're following there to interact with us on chat during our live streams. See you next time here on the Thunderdome Puckcast. Take care.